You can say a lot of things about college football, but it ain't ever boring.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. We'll talk about Mazda in just a little bit. Want to thank you everydayers for being here every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. Thanks, everybody, for making this your first listen every single day. You guys are the best. Jimmy, I'm back from Columbia, Missouri. It was fine. I can certainly talk a little bit more about that. There's a lot we got to cover from that game still. We went live after the game, sometime after the game. I talked about a lot of it, but we didn't even get to the fact that Caden Proctor ran the wild elephant and Parker Brailsford had more yards receiving than Ryan Williams. I mean, this is nuts. But regardless, we'll talk about all that. We've got to get into some of the firings and things that are going on around college football and some of the SEC officiating controversies. We will do all that in the third segment. But I thought right now we would talk a little bit more about this Missouri game. Let me just throw out some stuff against the wall, and then you pick out what you would really want to hit, because I rewatched a lot of it on the plane. Okay. And I didn't get to see a lot of this in real time. I mean, at the game, it's different. So, first of all, Keon Keely, I mean, I don't know if I mentioned him on a live broadcast yesterday, and he played his tail off. I mean, and you and I feel like it's sort of like, that's our boy, Jimmy. Our boy finally did it.
We've been defending him while half the Alabama fans out there have kind of been pushing him into the portal. They're like, no way, he's staying. He's going in the portal. He can't be happy, or he's no good. We heard that all the time, but we insisted it's just going to take a while, but there will be a good payoff at the end. And I think we're starting to see what we're talking about. There's going to be a good payoff here. There just had to be some patience. This wasn't a small position change. This was huge. He's gone from playing football standing up to playing football with his hand in the ground. Yeah, it's a much different. It's a much different position that he's playing. So, and he showed up, 238. Now he's 282. He's a different human being.
You know what? And I'll just sort of keep it on the defensive side in this first segment. Something else that I thought about that I noticed was that Alabama held Missouri to 1 of 12 on third downs yesterday.
Remarkable considering their balance on offense, because they can run it and throw it, and the quarterback can run it and throw it. Told them to 1 out of 12 is big time defensive football. That's spectacular. A+ there.
Yeah. And by the way, a lot of people have seen this. A lot of people have been giving Damani Jackson a lot of heat. Number one, he got beat on the deep ball 4th and 6 late in the game by Alubade, I think is how you say it. And, he's a true freshman, and Deshaun Jackson shouldn't be getting beat like that. That's probably true. But I thought the coverage wasn't awful right there. I thought it was a great pass, and the receiver made a great play, and sometimes you just get beat. But the other thing that was making the rounds, and this was on Twitter, and we actually had somebody tweet at us and say, y'all got to talk about this, was on the first touchdown from Missouri when they hit Norfleet, who, by the way, when you see the replay and they have the camera angle from behind Norfleet and Bray trying to catch up to him.
Yep.
That's what I imagine if David and Goliath had played football against each other. That's kind of what it would have looked like. Bray is not a small dude. Norfleet looked gigantic. He looked like he had a case of giganticism. Is that what you say?
He's one of the better tight ends in this league. Probably didn't talk about him enough last week. He's one of the better tight ends in the SEC.
He's a dude. And he, you know what they said? They said he really wanted to play baseball because he throws it like 95 miles per hour as a baseball player. So he's just one of those dude athletes. And but on that play, it looked, honestly, I remember being in the stands thinking, we overthrew him. Oh, I didn't know that he was 6'7" and could jump like that. And Norfleet reels it in. And you see in front of Norfleet comes Damani Jackson, and he just sort of continues to run out of bounds rather than take on Norfleet. Now, and I know Jackson's taking a lot of heat for this, and this is what I prefer to believe. I prefer to believe Damani Jackson thought that ball was going to be overthrown just like I did. And if he's thinking that, he's thinking, I need to get in a position on the angle to try and catch that and try and make it an interception. And did he make a business decision? I honestly, I choose not to believe that, but the reputation right now is there that he did, and I'm choosing to not believe that. That said, I'm also choosing to believe right now Dijon Lee is playing better than Damani Jackson, and so maybe he should be getting some of those reps, even if they're not exactly the same position on the same spot on the field. I'm not here to bash Damani Jackson is what I'm saying. You and I are believers in Damani Jackson and think he can be a good player.
Well,
however,
I was.
Huh?
I was.
Okay.
I was. I'm losing confidence there.
Okay. Fair enough. And I like that you're standing on business. And maybe Cam Calhoun needs to get a shot a little bit more. I don't even know if he played. I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
I mean, I haven't seen him play much at all.
The best two corners on the team are Dijon Lee and Xavier Brown. And again, I'm in the Saban school of thought, and I'm best players play and no one else does until the game's over. That's what I want to do. No one's going to ask me or I get to vote or anything, but the best two cornerbacks on this team right now are Xavier Brown and Dijon Lee. In my opinion, those should be the two guys out there, and period. I mean, and Damani, who I spent this entire offseason glowing about, going, where's Damani in these first-round mocks? Damani played like a first-round pick last year. He's got first-round measurables. He played like a first-rounder, and I don't see his name anywhere. And then then I heard rumblings in fall camp. I heard rumblings. I think I talked about it here. Sometimes I hear things, and I don't want to say them on the show because it doesn't make any sense to me, even though it's from a good source. I'm like, I can't really believe this. I'm not going to go to the show and say it because I don't really believe it. But I was hearing in fall camp that Damani was going to sit and Dijon was going to play. And I'm like, come on. Come on. I just didn't think it would possibly be really true. And now that we've played half the season, I'm like, oh, heck yes, it was true. And I don't know why. I'm like Luke. I don't want to believe that was a business decision on his part. But I do know this. I can't explain how Damani, what he was doing. I can't explain.
No, I'm with you. And maybe I'm trying to wish cast here. Maybe I'm trying to say, okay, this is what I am saying this. I'm not trying to. This is what I want to believe happened. And so I'm kind of convincing myself that I'm kind of giving myself a halftime speech like, come on, guys, you can do it. I don't know if it's working. I might be getting one of those Hugh Freeze halftime speeches. But the one thing that's interesting, okay, if you go back in just this game alone, you have Bray Hubbard get juked out of his shoes by Bo Pribula on a Pribula touchdown run. He got embarrassed. And he did. Again, I would have been embarrassed. You would have been embarrassed. Pribula is not a bad runner. Okay. But what did Bray Hubbard do later? He made up for it. He made a big pick. And I know you can say, well, he just happened to be right spot, right time, and it was a missed time or whatever. I don't care.
You know what that is? A good football play. Right spot, right time. That's a good football play. It's what that is.
Jimmy, I truly believe this. Good players have a knack for making great plays. Even if it appears lucky, there's probably something intuitive inside of them that picks it up. I talk about the book Blink all the time, that there's some people just have an intuition and they've learned to go with it and trust it in a matter of milliseconds. And that's what separates them from other people who, soon as they start doubting themselves, a second after they have that intuition is when they start screwing up. That's what we talk about with quarterbacks all the time. Just let the ball go, man. You're a good player. Let it happen. Right. But, okay, so Bray Hubbard, bad play, makes up for it. Dijon Lee dropped an interception in this game. I didn't see that highlight yet, but it sure looked like he should have caught that.
He definitely should have caught it. It was a drop. It was a drop, but
so what did he do later?
He put himself in good position though. He defended the play. It's still a pass broken up.
What did he do later? He caught the game-winning interception, right? So I'm saying, like, that's
I don't see Damani making up.
Damani's got to do that.
He's not making up for the bad snaps. He's so, and again, I don't know what's wrong. Maybe it's something that's fixable. And then if we could get the Damani Jackson we had in 2024, I would be thrilled, excited. I think he's one of the best players on the football team. Just the Damani we've seen this year is not as good as Dijon Lee is right now. I mean, that's just my opinion, and people are free to disagree. I'm sure Damani would disagree. I'm just saying that's my opinion. This year in 2025, football I've watched at Alabama, Dijon Lee's been a better cornerback than Damani. And I think he should play even more snaps. By the way, Dijon for a couple of weeks has been playing, quote, starter snaps. He's been playing as much as Zabian and Damani. I just want to see him play even more. Like, again, I'm a different style of thinking. We played 23 players on defense, yes, against Missouri in a game that wasn't decided until Dijon's interception at the end. The game wasn't decided until then. We played 23 players on defense. I don't like it, but at the same time, when I say I don't like it, I'll also admit a few things. We're playing very well on defense. We're doing a good job. I would say to this point, Kane Womack is doing a really good job as a defensive coordinator at Alabama this year. I got no problem saying that because it's true. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be 100% on board with every decision that's made. And again, it shouldn't bother him. He's the 7-figure DC, and I'm just, a podcaster in my mom's basement. Though
you're the 3-figure podcaster.
That's
all right.
Right.
So
I'm in my mom's basement, though technically not at my mom's or in a basement.
And let me say this too. We're only 15, 16. I'm not going to do the math. 15, 16 games into the Womack DeBoer tenure.
Yeah.
Okay.
19
and
games.
They're still learning. Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
I learned something in this Missouri game. After that first drive, my buddy looked at me and said, Kane Womack, like that. And I said, hey, in my head, I'm going, Luke, this is another golden opportunity for you to send out a tweet about how mad you are at Kane Womack. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be patient and see what happens. What happened was Kane Womack got it turned around. Now we need to take a break, but when we come back, I got some other stuff we got to get into about Ty specifically. But man, we got to address these everything going on in college football. Want to tell you about Mazda. I love Mazda. You love Mazda. We all love Mazda. I had people in the comments say so many great things about Mazda. It's crazy. Mazda people are brand loyal, and they should be. This episode is brought to you by Mazda, moving the game forward for those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is, you know what? How about Keon Keely's sack? I just thought that was great. I was so happy for him when I saw it on the highlights, because in the stands, they announced it like it was all LT Overton, and I couldn't see Keon Keely. But now that I go back and see it, I was like, yeah, Keon Keely was in on that.
I think they officially credited them with half a sack each.
They did, but
to me,
Keely
it was
a part of that.
Keely was a huge part of it.
I needed to hear that over the loudspeaker, and they just didn't do it for me. But again, I had trouble with that scoreboard all game long, and I talked about that very famously. So look, when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, because you want to move and be moved, because it's awesome, Jimmy Stein, guaranteed.
I'll guarantee you that a Mazda will move.
It will.
Guarantee.
One couple more things about defense, then we'll get into Ty Simpson, because he's just awesome.
I was going to say about that first drive thing. It's 2 weeks in a row where the other team has not only scored, I think, on their first drive, they just sort of flew through us like a hot knife through butter. I was used the same cliche.
My knife wasn't hot, but
those drives are usually scripted. Those first drives, I mean, they're scripted, and I think is scripted. I don't think is a great term to use to explain to everybody, but what that really means is they repped it to death. It's like a dress rehearsal. They just, okay, this is the first few plays we're going to use. Then they rep it to death in practice, to where execution wise they can't get it wrong. I'm going to credit Vanderbilt and Missouri for a good plan and good execution of over repping these few plays that we just didn't have an answer for. But as soon as our defense gets to the sideline and Kane starts drawing on the whiteboard, boom, suddenly we do have answers. And so I'm going to credit two good football teams, Vanderbilt and Missouri, more than I'm going to dock Kane for that particular issue. But
and I'd also say I know Bo Pribula first year starting and all that stuff, but he's been in a Power 4 system, either at Penn State or here for some time now. Diego Pavia, we all know, is 47 years old, and so we have been beaten by a couple of experienced quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And you know who else got beaten on the first drive? Georgia by us. And Georgia by who? Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold led Auburn down the field in beautiful fashion, to the point where I was like, they may have turned it around.
Those scripted drives are tough.
They're good.
Those scripted drives are tough to defend just because those plays are executed so well because they did it 100 times. In practice last week. Yeah,
I'm with you. And then compliments to Ahmad Hardy. Look, I know Alabama stifled him and they held him. First of all, I don't think Missouri. I think Missouri gave up on him a little quick. Watching these highlights, it was almost like Alabama thought it was. He made it look like Alabama was playing two-hand touch. I don't think Alabama felt that way. I mean, I think they were trying. He's just hard to get your arms around. He's got Publix chicken finger thighs that you just can't put your arms around.
I'm glad they only gave it to him 12 times. As an Alabama fan, thank you for only giving it to him 12 times. And now, Jamal Roberts had a big game against us. He didn't get a ton of carries either, but Jamal Roberts averaged something like 10 yards a carry.
Yeah, but that is skewed by the one long run.
Yeah, well.
I mean, it's part of it. I know. It's part of it. Now,
he's a good player. He's one of the better. I think Jamal Roberts may be one of the top 5 or 6 running backs we face all season. He's not even their starting back.
Yeah, I mean, he's good. And then Yanzi Pierre, I thought he looked great too. I really just wanted to throw his name out there because he's
hardly ever taken him off the field. Per PFF, Justin Hill, his backup, only played 1 snap.
Well, I need Justin Hill. It's funny. We've just been talking about playing too much. I'm like, I need more Justin Hill in my life. But we'll see.
I would love to see Justin Hill a lot. As much as I say, hey, we're playing too many guys. But see, Justin Hill to me is a situational substitute that makes a lot of sense for me on 3rd and 10. 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. I'd just as soon have Justin Hill in the game as Yanze. 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. Now, all other game situations, I want to go with the older, more experienced kid.
Okay. And one other thing, gosh, I might just, and this may be all defense. I'm sorry. But, the missed sack by Keon Sabb, I thought was a big play.
Yeah.
And that's one of those plays. Here's why I think it's a big play. Obviously, we still won. I can't remember off the top of my head if Missouri went down and scored on that drive. But, in fact, I think that was the fake punt that failed, by the way. And I think it was that drive. Well, Keon's got to make that play. And not just for Alabama. I think you need to make it for Keon. Because it's just like anything else. Once you make a play that's a big deal, all of a sudden your confidence skyrockets. And I think Keon Sabb needed to make that play for Keon Sabb.
There's almost no more riskier play on defense than blitzing the safety. There's almost no more risky thing you can do if you think about it. I would bet the first time someone came up with that idea and suggested it to a defensive coordinator in football 100 years ago or whatever and said, look, what I want to do is blitz the safety and have him rush the quarterback. I'm sure it was, are you mad? Are you crazy? He's the back end of, what are we going to do about the entire back end? I'm just saying, for Keon, when you blitz from the safety spot, you got to get home.
It's got to work.
It's got to work because it's high risk, high reward, but high risk. And thankfully they didn't make us pay. That could have gone bad, but it didn't. But, I'm with you. Keon needs to make that play. I'm not sure he had the best angle that he took.
No, and he clearly was going for the strip. Again, I'm down for that if you are Derek Thomas and you do this all the time and you're like, I can sack him anyway. But when you go for the strip and you don't sack him, they end up with a big game. Again, I think that was the fake punt drive, now that I think about it. So it didn't end up hurting us, so I'm not going to sweat it too much. You know what? We're not going to spend a whole segment on Ty. I know I got Ty's star is shining on there, but Ty deserves more love. So what I'm going to do instead, I wrote this down. Jimmy, how about Danny freaking Lewis?
A couple catches there. A couple catches in this game. 2 catches.
Nice catches. Nice catch. And it's interesting because
he was too hurt to play throughout most of September, and here he is in October helping us win football games.
Well, because if you remember right here on this podcast, I talked to another parent of somebody on the team, and they told me that, hey, Danny Lewis's thing is more serious than people think, because at that time in the summer, people were like, well, he'll be ready for fall camp. This is
because he missed spring. He missed spring practice. Yeah. I think for people that miss the spring, there's an assumption that we all make that, okay, well, he missed the spring, so he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He wasn't fine.
But it tells you how much they love him, because we've had a true freshman playing great. We've had Cuevas playing great. We've had some other tight ends doing some stuff, and we're like, okay, wait, if Danny Lewis is healthy, we're playing Danny Lewis. I like that. That says a lot about him.
He was in the portal, and we recruited him out of the portal. I mean, if you think about him, he's practically a portal signee. I mean, he literally was in the portal, and Alabama recruited him out of the portal. So they obviously like him, and he's helping us. And those were big catches. I thought, as to Ty, here's how great Ty is. I thought Ty played really well and continued his Heisman campaign in a positive fashion, while probably statistically that may have been his worst game since Florida State, in the sense that I think he was less than 7 yards per pass attempt, which means it wasn't super efficient. Yet overall the numbers are good. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. On top of it, threw for 200 yards. I kind of expected Ty to have a bigger game, but it was good enough to do this: continue his march to New York City at the end of the year, which is freaking nuts when you consider he's a redshirt junior that's been sitting on the bench for 3 years. But hey, it paid off. Here's a kid who's just ready. He was ready when he was ready, and boy, is he ready. And he'll have a nice opportunity to put up big numbers against Tennessee. Obviously, we'll do more Tennessee talk later in the week, but Tennessee is ripe to give up a lot of passing yards.
There's no doubt.
And Tom, those receivers are showing up at a good time for it.
And, Arkansas moved the ball pretty efficiently on them. I mean, I know they got some points late, but they moved the ball pretty well on them. Now, that being said, Tennessee's pass rush is really good too. So we will talk about Tennessee later, but I think we can all safely say we're all on the Ty Simpson bus now, right? I mean, everybody's on that. This is not anymore, hey, I'm still not bought in. I think we're all bought in, and we should be, because national guys yesterday were saying things like, hey, did you see that throw on 4th and 8 to Lots Brooks? And number one, it was a great catch. I thought the coverage was really good, but Ty put it in the only place that his guy could have a shot at it and go get it, and Brooks went and did it. So yeah, pretty awesome. And
I follow a lot of scouting guys on Twitter. I follow a lot of pro scouting guys. A lot of them were talking about that play.
Yep.
A lot of them were talking about that play in particular. Ty is, the last thing I want to see is a one and done, just because, I would love to see Ty stick around because he's such a good quarterback, and I think he needs more experience, but it's kind of hard to say if you're going to be a first round pick. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say that he shouldn't go because that's just so much to turn down, a guaranteed, 5-year deal. It's just kind of hard to turn down, but I think he needs a lot more experience. It's still a little early to talk about that. He's played half a football season. Let's see what happens over the second half when you're facing Tennessee, LSU, Oklahoma, at Auburn, at South Carolina.
Some serious defenses. I mean, we're about to play Oklahoma, LSU, and all. They got some serious Ds, and South Carolina's hitting awful.
Here's the thing, though, to really brag about Ty. I think we can all agree Ty is solidly in the Heisman Trophy discussion, right? I'm not whether he's leading or not, I don't care. But as long as we can all agree, solidly in the Heisman discussion, he's done it against the second toughest schedule in all of college football.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's got to be factored in. Per ESPN strength of schedule, Alabama has played the second toughest schedule in college football, and Ty is still among the Heisman leaders playing that schedule. And we need to, as a fan base, when we're trying to pump Ty up, we need to bring that to everyone's attention. He's not beating up on the Patriot League out there.
Yeah, that's 100%. So we got to talk about some of the craziness going on in college football right now, because it's out of control. Want to tell you about FanDuel right now, though. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus dollars to bet across the app. How great is that? Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started on something that is a lot of fun, and you will truly enjoy it. Then I want to tell you about Monarch Money. Love Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401k properties or investments, whatever. You don't have the full picture. You can end up leaving money on the table. You don't ever want to do that. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface. On your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see the data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and all that stuff that you just absolutely love to do and will make you feel a lot smarter about yourself. Use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, and that is all one word. Don't forget that. Okay, Jimmy, I got some other stuff to talk about. Was Ryan Williams a decoy yesterday? Just a whole bunch of just some other stuff that needs to be discussed. But we can't not talk about, number one, what's going on in the SEC, which just it is bananas. By the way, you are turning into a prophet. I mean, you picked Bama 27-24. You hit it right on the head. And you also said at the beginning of the year, I remember it vividly, hey, the SEC championship game is probably going to have 2 10-2 teams, and we might have 4 10-2 teams all tied for the title, or 5. And I think that is spot on. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule going forward, and it's holy cow, this thing is bananas. Penn State fires their coach today. It is crazy to think about. 3 weeks ago, Penn State was up 7 points on Oregon, looking like the national title favorite. They lose that game in overtime. Then they go on the road and lose to UCLA while they're crestfallen. Then they come home and crap the bed against Northwestern. And Penn State's like, you know what? We've seen enough. It seems kind of nutty, but there's another stat. All right. The teams that are favored by 20 points this year are 69-2 overall. The two are both Penn State.
That's amazing. That's a cool number. How about this number, though? Over the last 3.5 football seasons, only 3 college football coaches have won more games than James Franklin. Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, and Kalen DeBoer are the only 3 coaches in all of college football that have won more games than James Franklin. So the way I'm looking at it, Penn State guys, hey, I'm looking at you, Penn State. Fine. Come up with the $49 million it takes to fire him. $49 million, second biggest buyout in the history of American sports. And so which one of those 3 are you hiring? I mean, are you hiring Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, or Kalen DeBoer? You're going to pay $49 million to hire whatever's behind door number 1? I mean, I'm just saying, you're spending $49 million firing the coach. You better upgrade. A shout out to A&M. They spent $76 million firing Jimbo Fisher. They made a good hire. They've improved their program. Mike Elko is an improvement over Jimbo Fisher. No question that's true. Will the next hire at Penn State be an improvement over James Franklin? I'll sit here and predict no. No, not in terms of number of wins, not in terms of win-loss record, not in terms of getting to bowls, being ranked in the top 10. I'd say history and logic suggests that the next hire at Penn State is actually a step down from Franklin, who you paid $49 million to hit the streets.
And then on top of that, UAB fired Trent Dilfer today. I mean,
that was so long overdue. I've heard.
Oh my God, I don't know.
Heard some crazy stories. I've heard crazy stories.
Like what in the world took so long? But okay, then. So who's next on the chopping block? We've already had one SEC team cut ties, Arkansas with Sam Pittman. Then you've got Venables, who he sort of reverted to being the Venables that just doesn't seem to like to win big games when they matter kind of thing. And then you've got Billy Napier at Florida.
Venables did something proving Nick Saban right. And Nick Saban said this for years. I think it drove some of our fans crazy about this, about playing a backup. Saban would always say, hey, if somebody's hurt, I'm going to play the guy that practiced all week if he practiced well.
Yeah.
If he practiced well, I'm going to play the guy that practiced all week. Yeah. I wonder if Oklahoma would have been better off going with Michael Hawkins, because there's no way Mateer practiced all the reps all week and looked good. I think this was all just let's patch Mateer up and get him ready and just roll him out there against Texas. They should have just played Michael Hawkins, who practiced all week, got the game plan down. It's not like he's a useless player at all. I think that was the mistake for me.
And then, like I said, Billy Napier beats Texas, looks good for a little bit against A&M, but A&M just sort of takes over, and then the offense just seems to sputter again. And it's the same story with Hugh Freeze. They looked great for a while, and look, whether you believe that was a fumble or not, I'm going to say I've seen the still shots, and I know Auburn fans are like, that was definitely a fumble. No doubt it was a fumble. I'm like, look, I probably would have called it a touchdown just because I'd be like, there's no way he didn't make it. But you can't definitively say that he made it. And so if that's the case, the officiating crew screwed up twice. They didn't give, they either didn't give the touchdown to Auburn or Georgia should have had a touchdown. One of the two. And they screwed it up. And they shouldn't be reprimanded. I'm fine for that. But don't come at me. I see Auburn fans saying they want to leave the SEC. Number one, bye. I think we'd all be fine with it. But it's on you.
Okay.
I mean, you want to go join the ACC, some place that their guy, anybody they have is dying to get in our conference. So, but I think there's no conspiracy against Auburn. If there was, why in the world?
The officials are just incompetent.
Why in the world would they let Auburn
to
drive down there to get that close?
It's so officials are just incompetent. They're not biased. They just screw up their jobs all the time. And as far as I'm concerned, I watch the play live and then I watch all the replays. The way I look at replay, and I know you get more upset at replay than I do, but this is the way it's called one way on the field, right? If you've got to study, if I watch the replay 5 times and I'm still not sure, then don't change the call on the field. 100%. Just don't change the call on the field.
You're going to talk yourself into it.
Yeah,
it goes back to go with your gut.
Only change the play if it's obvious. But don't tell me that was obvious. I watched it. I've seen still photos and I'm not sure. I've seen the video multiple times. I'm not sure. People listening to this show might have a strong opinion one way or the other. I don't. I watched it several. I'm not sure.
But here's the other thing, Jimmy.
But
here's why
the call should have stood.
And the call did stand. They called it a fumble on the field.
Yeah.
But the call did stand. And here's the other thing. This is why Hugh Freeze, and I hope they keep Hugh Freeze. I do, because this is a man who's a shell of himself.
Why would an Alabama fan want Hugh Freeze to be fired and replaced by somebody like John Summerall or Rhett Lashley? Why would 100%. We want that? Why would Alabama fans want that to happen?
But let me tell you why this is why you have to fire him. Because, okay, Auburn, if you feel like you got hosed, okay, you got hosed. Just pretend like you did get hosed. Georgia's got the ball with an offense that hadn't done diddly pea squat all game long on the half-yard line. You let them march down the field. And, yes, it wasn't the officials that did it. That was targeting by Keon Lee. It was targeting. I know you don't like it. I don't like targeting either. I think it's very ambiguous and vague. I thought he was targeting on Jam Miller. They knocked him out cold. That's not targeting, I guess. I don't get it. But if you ask me, by the definition, that would be targeting. That's what we're trying to avoid. Then, was it roughing the passer? It's probably a little sketchy, but I can certainly see why he called it, because he grabbed him by the back of the jersey and then sort of gave him a forearm shiver. If you do that now, you're running the risk. And so just don't do it. And then Auburn was offsides also on that, and that was just clear as day. So Auburn helped get them down there. And then at halftime, I don't know if you saw it, but Hugh Freeze at halftime being interviewed by Molly McGrath was the saddest halftime interview that's ever been. And I thought to myself, if I can get a hold of a bookie, I'm going to take Georgia at the half, because this man is going to go in there and complain about calls and talk about how screwed they're getting, versus saying, guys, we're still up 10-3. We're beating their brains in. Let's go keep doing it. And instead, what they did in the second half was as bad of an offensive performance as Auburn has had in years.
Yeah, it was there. They didn't lose that game because of officials. I know a lot of Auburn fans think they did, and I'm not saying that the officials didn't get stuff wrong in the game. They did, but Auburn lost the game because they played horrible offensively in the second half. I mean, that's why they lost.
Well, and Jackson Arnold, again, this is why you probably need to replace Jackson Arnold. He is a mirror image of Hugh Freeze. When Hugh Freeze lost confidence and started complaining, you could see Jackson Arnold was a different quarterback. He started throwing those worm burner passes again. He wasn't, being decisive. And then at the end, if I were Jackson Arnold, if I were Auburn, if I were an Auburn player, I'd be like, it's 4th and 4. You know, the odds are stacked against us, but crazy things have happened. We're down 10. We're on the 50 or 45 or whatever they're on. And it's 4th and a little bit. And they call a quarterback draw with no timeouts. That tells me you have zero faith in your quarterback. Zero.
Well, he's not taking full advantage of Auburn does have impressive talent at wide out, and
yes,
they're unable to take advantage of their best players on the field. I mean, Alabama's best players on the field, probably their wide receivers, and you got a quarterback that can show them off. I think that's their biggest problem over there is they've got the Cam Colemans and Malcolm Simmons and Eric Singleton and even other guys who are good players, but Jackson Arnold can't take advantage of that.
And I don't know what happened. I'm not trying to feed in your conspiracy theories. I, honest to God, have no idea what happened with the Kirby Smart timeout thing. He did the T. Now, I think he was trying to make a point that he felt like Auburn was clapping and therefore should be a defensive delay of game. That's fine. But if you're going to do that, you can't just do a T. And then he was like, that's how I was clapping. I was like, nobody claps like this. Nobody. And why, how he just got a free timeout out of that is wrong. But I say this too. Back in 2019, remember when Auburn got a field goal right before the half? Guess what happened? They had a player that was down. They did a review. And so Auburn got to get all lined up with 1 second left and kick their field goal.
That's right.
That was BS too. So what I'm saying is it happens. And so you got to play through it. And as the Locked On Georgia people said, even on that non-timeout, which was crap, I'm 100% on your side. It was crap. Georgia didn't score on that drive. You still had a chance. You just didn't capitalize. And so that's what it comes down to. All right. We're going to be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.